Good afternoon, FUTV Army. Welcome back to Forever United TV. We are live this lunchtime, the day after what was a very, very positive night in the Carabao Cup for Manchester United. But first of all, we are getting into the full-on updates of where our new manager, Ruben Amorim, is at and his pursuit of leaving Sporting Lisbon and heading over to Manchester United. Well, there's loads of details that have come out in the last hour. There's loads of different stories that have floated around as well. Interesting look on this from Jose Mourinho. Interesting stories from The Athletic as well, and The Telegraph on what's happening and what has been happening and the fallout in particular with Ruben Amorim and the sporting directors as well at the club right now. It hasn't been amicable and it has been anything but smooth sailing for Ruben Amorim since the announcement has been made. But we are finding out now about how long it's going to be, how many games he's got left with Sporting, how long we have to wait as a fan base before we have got our man in situ in that dugout. So we're going to go through all of that, bring in your live comments. We're going to do an extra long video as well this lunchtime, talk about the game last night as well. It was a bit chaotic last night outside of Old Trafford. I had a technology meltdown. Apologies to the people that did speak, that vlogs haven't gone up on the channel because of the problems I had last night. It was the same this morning. We managed to just about get a form of the matchday vlog up. So go and check the vlog out after this video as well, everybody, please. Thank you. And cheers for all of the comments and likes from last night. It was positive. And more positive is what is happening with Manchester United off the pitch right now. Ruud van Nistelrooy obviously got off to a winning start last night. He is the interim manager. He is currently the top dog at Manchester United, but that is going to change. As you all know, we have been covering it in detail, bit by bit, day by day, report by report about Ruben Amorim's move from Sporting. It is done. It is finalised, it is complete, and we are going to get the announcement today. We may even get it while we're live. I don't know. We might get lucky on that one. But what we have to look at is everything that's now in place, everything that's been reported is in place from every single media outlet, both Portuguese and English media. It's all saying exactly the same thing. As you can see at the bottom of your screen now, I've got the latest tweet from Larry Whitwell, who I would trust on The Athletic. They wouldn't put anything out unless it was a definite. We know this with Ornstein, we know with the ties, and obviously the links with Manchester United that they have got. That reads, Manchester United have reached an agreement with Sporting over the hiring of Ruben Amorim as head coach. He will first take charge of Manchester United's away trip at Ipswich Town on November the 24th. So the first game back after international break. There were rumours circulating last night as we was at the game that it wasn't going to be home and hosed and he's going to be in this week. We thought that he might make it into the Chelsea game. Sporting have well and truly dug their heels in. According to reports, they were not going to let him leave. There is a 30-day period within his release clause, if triggered, that he has to serve out. So a notice period of 30 days. Manchester United are paying for him, for his staff, and to not have to see out that 30-day period, i.e., it would take us into the next batch of games after the international break if we were to see this through right to the end. Ruben Amorim's expected to be officially confirmed as Manchester United's new manager today. That has come out from Sky. There are all sorts of different reports coming out right now regarding Ruben Amorim, what is actually happening. Ben Jacobs says all parties are waiting for the paperwork to be signed on the Ruben Amorim to Manchester United deal before confirming, i.e. just waiting for everything to be down, signed, sealed and delivered. But in terms of agreements, everything is in place right now for Ruben Amorim. And it is all systems go. Just so you know, or just out of curiosity, his first game is Ipswich, like we just said, followed by Bodo Glimt, Everton, Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. Arsenal away. That's a juicy one. I will be doing a watch along on our sister channel, big up over on there, on that watch along platform on Tuesday for the City game. So we're on Amorim Watch on Tuesday. So let's just see how he puts his It's against the man himself, Pep Guardiola. But yeah, there are a lot of other reports going on with Ruben Amorim right now. Interesting one from Record Portugal that I wanted to read out, which has just come out in the last hour as well. Ruben Amorim's agent, Raul Costa, wanted an agreement that would see the immediate release of the manager from Sporting. There has been moments of high tension between Amorim and Sporting's president, Frederico Varandas. And this has sort of been said in other media outlets as well. There's a lot of reports from the Portugal side saying the same thing. It has not been smooth sailing for Amorim. You've seen the reports that Sky were talking about yesterday about how they sort of threw him to the wolves when it came to the press conference after their League Cup game the other night. That was thought to have been his last game. It is now not. Sporting would always have, and I've been in these press conferences, Sporting would always have a club representative, a media rep that would pick certain questions. He would brief the media beforehand on what they could say, how many questions could be asked, per se, about Manchester United, how many about the game, make sure it is on this level. We won't be answering any questions on this subject, so on and so forth. None of it. That always happens before every press conference. You are told what is going to be spoken about, how much you can ask in terms of certain subjects. Like I said, they gave him nothing and they just let them absolutely tear him apart. So there is bad blood. And a lot of the players at Sporting right now in the reports are saying that they feel let down by Ruben Amorim because he was giving it the big one this summer about staying loyal, about staying part of the process. There are certain sections of the players and the playing staff that are now not on board with him in these next few games. Of course, they will be, but there is animosity there within. Some are actually seeing this as Ruben Amorim cannot turn down a deal like Manchester United. It's impossible to say no to United. Everybody moves on. It's the same with players. It's the same with managers. Everyone will always go for the better option when it is there. So, yes, Manchester United are paying out. I'm just going to get up the actual figures of what it's all broken down into now. Contract is going to be until 2027. Sporting will receive 10 million clause plus 1 million for staff / 30-day notice. So Manchester United have indeed managed to negotiate it down a little bit from the original amount that Sporting wanted, but they have got more on top. It is going to be between that 10 and 11 million euro mark. So there was a fee for his staff and the non-30-day release or notice period being served out by Amorim, which is why Manchester United are getting him in the international break and not into the fixtures after the international break, because that's, if we went off the paperwork and how everything should have been done, would have been probably around about the Arsenal game, which would have been really disappointing for United, because as much as we want him in the dugout for an Arsenal game to go up against Arteta, we don't really want to throw him right in at the deep end. Let's let these players actually find their feet and get comfortable with the system which is coming. And it's a system that I want to talk about next, actually. And then I'll get your comments on all of this, because the interesting stuff that's come out this morning is the stuff that's come from Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho, who has been talking, and Samuel Luckhurst has reported this. Jose Mourinho believes Manchester United will be hiring the best manager in Portugal in Ruben Amorim. Good, very good. Interesting bit here, though, was what Jose said. Jose Mourinho believes Ruben Amorim will not be as gun-ho as his favourite 3-4-3 formation suggests, as he switches it to a 5-4-1 shape out of possession with a low block. Interesting. That's not what we're hearing from a lot of the experts. Mourinho insists Amorim never changes his approach regardless of the opposition, and his tactics provide depth for the wingers and the striker. He described his style as always intense. Always intense. I think we're going to get a bit of a live wire, personally. I think we're going to get someone who is going to be at it completely every single game. We seen Ruud van Nistelrooy last night. I was at the game. The man did not stop. He did not stop. He probably did more steps than some of the players on the pitch, and the players did all right last night. But he was just 100 miles an hour, and I think that's what the players obviously thrive off, and that's what the fans obviously buy into as well. That enthusiasm. He is part of it. It's not I've done my bit. I'm just going to stand there and you go and do the rest. I'm going to kick every ball. I'm going to be in this with the fans. I'm going to be emotionally connected to this game with everybody else. That's how it's coming across. That's how he is. And obviously, we've seen a bit of that in Ruud van Nistelrooy last night. And by the way, we have got a live poll running right now, and get your comments in the comment section afterwards as well if you're catching up after the live. It's a simple question. Ruud van Nistelrooy now has 3 games for Manchester United, which are obviously the game this weekend against Chelsea. We have got PAOK next Thursday, and obviously then we've got the last game before the international break, which is Leicester again at home, but this time in the league. How many of them games will Ruud van Nistelrooy win? 3, 2, 1, none. 4 options. Get them in the comment section, or if you're live right now, get into the poll and try and manipulate it whichever way you want. 2% people think he's going to lose all 3 games. Obviously, rival fans. There has to be. Because if there's any Man United fan that's voting, we're not going to win any of these next 3 games, and kicking you out. That's it. If I find out who you are, you're banned. I'll let you come back in later, but for today and this one, shut up. No. And don't start voting no now just to try and wind me up. If I see that percentage go up on the 0, then I'm really questioning you trying to sabotage that vote. But on this system, I've got a special video tomorrow afternoon with a special guest, someone you will know as well. So stay tuned for that. I have been leading up to that and sort of teasing you into that video. Never been on the channel before, but is definitely someone that everybody knows. So look out for that one tomorrow. We're going to be going deep into the tactics and what Amorim is all about in that special tomorrow. So watch that one definitely. That's ahead of his game tomorrow night as well. So interesting times for Amorim and what's going on behind the scenes. Actually, just to quickly go into that, like how awkward must it be right now for Ruben Amorim where we're actually at? And do you know what? This is why we've seen him so, I wouldn't say coy, but very clever in how he handled the media. We reported the press conference on the morning show yesterday. We put the video up and the clip of him talking, how he was joking with the Sky Sports News presenter and everything that was going on in that press conference after that 3-1 win. And he didn't give much away. I think he was very, very careful in what he did. So very meticulous, very forward-thinking, obviously plans ahead as well, knew what was coming, prepared for being thrown to the wolves, like I said, by Sporting, who really are not defending their manager at the moment. They have got their club's interest at heart, and that is it. Ruben Amorim is definitely not at the forefront of anything protection-wise from Sporting right now. We can safely say that, but you could see how he held himself in that press conference. It looked like he had been completely grilled by the Portuguese media. And I mean, question after question. You only have to listen back to it. And the Sky reporter says, I've heard Manchester United mentioned about 12, a dozen times in them questions before the English section came up in it. But he has obviously answered it exactly the same way. He's been very clever in what he said. We need a bit more time. I will tell you everything when I can and when everything is finalised. Obviously, at that point, there was probably a lot going on behind the scenes. And with all that going on behind the scenes, the unrest of the fans, the unrest of the players, and then you look at still getting the performance that he got, winning 3-1 and carrying on that amazing run. I wouldn't put it past him in winning this game on Friday. And then I think it is I'm pretty certain it's his last game, I think, against Manchester City, or he may have one more before the international break. But next week, Manchester City at home in Portugal in the Champions League. Everybody's going to be watching that one, aren't they? Everybody's going to be glued to their TV screens to find out what Amorim Ball is all about. So that's going to be really intriguing, especially with City not quite at it at the moment. So a good insight into what's coming there. But just to go back to what I was saying then, in terms of how he conducted himself, how he handled himself, to be able to be doing all that and still perform in his job, his normal day job. He's at training. He's obviously got the win. He's keeping the record going. He's keeping all of the players happy enough to get the results in the bag as well. And like I said then, I will be doing the game, the watch along for City and Sporting next week on Big Up. So make sure you have gone into the description and clicked on that and are ready to go with that one as well. It'd be good to see how these players are reacting in a big game like City. It would be horrible if he came to United off the back of losing to City. People would look at that with all of the omens and everything like that. Oh God, he's just going to go down the same road again. It's the same old, same old. Look, it's a tough game for him, and it's a tough situation. I just feel like he has got the character to handle things, and the whole Portuguese media, the whole world's media right now is just fixated on him, and I just feel like he's handling it very well. Granted, he has got results behind him to back him up. So, like I said, if it wasn't going well at Sporting and things weren't fantastic on the pitch, then it may be a bit more awkward for him. But while the results are there, he's obviously got that behind him, and he can actually handle himself with confidence because he's always got that to support him. But I just like the way that he has dealt with the whole situation. He didn't jump in. His agent, like we've just said, then from reports that have come out from Portugal, wanted this to be done this week, which is why I think everyone was reporting that it was going to be this week before the Chelsea game. He just put the stop on that in that press conference. He could have easily tripped himself up in that, but he didn't. And that shows a man that is aware of the situation and what's going on around him. So I feel like that's what we have to take as the biggest positive from this week's reports on what's happened. It just so happened to be playing games at the worst times, really, you could say, in close proximity. And get this as well. Like Sporting playing a game on a Tuesday and then a Friday. Portugal really not helping out with the fixture schedule there. Maybe they're doing that so they have the best build-up for that City game. Interesting just from that aside, like a total sub-subject right there, in how the Portuguese league is running itself and giving their teams the best opportunity in them big competitions. Just a little side out there, just a different conversation, I know, but still. Something that needs to be brought up for us in England as well and giving us the best chance with these massive fixture pile-ups that are coming up. But all good. Everything is in place. It is finalised. We're going to get the confirmation today. Ruben Amorim will be Manchester United manager. I want to move on to Ruud van Nistelrooy next, but I'm going to come to the chat first and just see what you're all saying regarding the situation. Has anything sort of jumped out at you in this whole process this week? Let's not forget, from Monday to Thursday morning now, it's a bit of a whirlwind and a lot has happened. So now's your chance to actually come into the chat and speak to me, get anything else off your chest that you feel that you need to talk about. Is there anything else important that you've seen within these last few days, what's happened and what people have been saying? Get in there right now. Let's get some comments going. Jonathan, who was at the game last night. Hello, Jonathan. Last night there was a free kick for Leicester. No player was near it, only the ref. I shouted it. Is the ref taking the free kick? Someone shouted back. After recent refereeing decisions, it's the next step. Okay. People joking about the referees in last night's game. That just shows you there, like, how sort of how the vibe was around Old Trafford. A joking, happy, upbeat sort of vibe around Old Trafford last night. Plenty of laughing, plenty of joking, plenty of cheering, obviously because there was a few goals. It just felt good to be in a nice environment in Old Trafford for a change. And it may sound stupid me saying that. It may just sound, like nothing. But as a match-going fan, I can tell you that is not there at Old Trafford, and it hasn't been there a long time. There is a sort of dark cloud over Manchester United right now, especially in home games. And moments like last night, they're just good to be part of. It was nice. That's all I'll say. It's nice. Neville says, we'll be looking to get a draw on Sunday. Remember, same players, no big tactical changes. New manager bounce is not Harry Potter's wand, says Neville. No, it's true. It's the same players. Not much was different last night. I said the same thing. So we'll see if that little upbeat in form, not so much form, but a little bit of confidence in a few players last night. Can we carry that into the weekend? That's important. But I think, in terms of this weekend's game, I know we're going to talk more about what happened last night, but Van Nistelrooy is pretty much putting himself out there, isn't he? This is like an audition right now for him and how he handles things. If Chelsea beat United 4-0, then Ruud will be looked at by the fans who overhyped our win against Leicester B team. I don't like that. I don't want it to be true. Look, I think the reality is, and everyone was saying the same last night, trust me on this, it wasn't being overhyped last night. We've seen Casemiro play well. We've seen Bruno play well. But everyone I spoke to, I said the same things. There were lots of Manchester United fans all on exactly the same page last night. It's a sort of cut short Leicester side. All of the big players were out, barring a couple. And United spanked them 5-2. It was a poor footballing game. The game really had nothing. Until the goals started going, until Casemiro scored, the game was awful. Both teams, that is. it just had that horrible testimonial feel sort of game about it. Nothing was really happening. And obviously there is one way of getting a game going, and that's scoring one of the goals of the season. And that sparks everything into life. But again, it was reactional from United. So I do get where people are being cautious and optimistically cautious going forward with what happened last night into Chelsea. Because Chelsea rested everyone last night. Yes, they went out, but they rested nearly every single player. So looking at their team at weekend, it's going to be different. They're going to be fresher than Manchester United. And I think United fans just have to be aware that there could be either outcome at weekend. We could get that feel-good factor still taking itself into that game. We could get battered. I would not be surprised if United got spanked by Chelsea at weekend. That's the real look at it. I hope he's in some of the Sporting... I hope he's in for some of the Sporting players' ears about jumping ship to United, says Liam. I know there's a few players in that team that a lot of United fans have been talking about. Gyökeres, for one, the striker, who is absolutely tearing it up right now. Tough ask to beat Chelsea at the weekend still. If we play like last night, we aren't beating Chelsea, says United Spotlight. Malp says Amorim could be our Jose Mourinho when he joined Chelsea. I've got high hopes with this new manager. Good to hear that, Malps. Good to hear. I'm with you on that one, mate. I have got high hopes. He is the right man, and I think he's the man that's going to give United fans that excitement factor back. And that's what we need. We need a pick-up. It may not look completely cohesive straight away, but we need that initial sort of visual of a direction that we're going in. I think that's what we need to cling on to. No one's getting carried away with the season from this point. I still feel we can go for top 4 because I don't think anyone's really running away with anything. So I'm just going to keep saying that. You get 3 wins now. If he beats Chelsea, if we beat Chelsea, if we beat Leicester, I think we can do. The fact that we're at home, it's Van Nistelrooy, the crowd is up, the players have sort of got a new lease of life. I feel like there is a chance. There is a chance that we can beat Chelsea. And Chelsea can implode on any day. We know this. It's one of them weird games on Sunday. You just don't know what you want to commit to. Like I said a minute ago, it could go either way. If he loses badly against City with Sporting, watch the press here start their agenda. I know what you're saying. I don't think they will. I actually fancy Sporting against City. I mean, Pep started to moan and bitch a little bit about injuries right now. I know De Bruyne, I know Rodri. We all know they're their 2 best players. And without them, you know what? I would not be surprised if Sporting beat Man City on Tuesday. I would not be surprised. Just watch it. I'm going to be doing a watch along, so watch it with me. I'm saying just enjoy the Ruud games, knowing that we have a very good manager on his way. We deserve a run of games with Ruud and some goals. Yeah, some goals. I mean, Carabao Cup-wise, wow. Like right now, we're doubling near enough the goal output from the league form. It's amazing. Like Carabao Cup is the place to be. If you want entertainment with United, what was it, 12 goals? What have we had now? Like 14 goals in 2 games, obviously between both teams. But that's the entertainment factor. Manchester United have got it. In the Carabao Cup we have anyway, so yeah, go for it. That's where it is. That's the place to be. The Carabao Cup. I'll tell you what, by the way, the draw, whoa, what a doozy that was. That's the draw of the round away at Tottenham. Do you fancy your chances getting the chat on that one? Let me know on that as well. Amorim, everyone loves a happy ending. Leicester were depleted, but scoring 5 goals at home is a boost. Yeah, pretty much like the Barnsley game. It felt exactly the same way as the Barnsley game. It could have been Ten Hag, Amorim, or Ruud in that dugout. No one would have known the difference. It was exactly the same. There was no difference from Ten Hag being there. I think someone asked me the question on TalkSport afterwards, what do you think Eric Ten Hag's thinking now watching that back? He'd have said that I wouldn't have got that offside goal that Garnacho scored. By the way, can you confirm? I've not even had a chance with everything going on. Like I didn't get back until 1:30 with everything that happened last night. So, can anyone just confirm if that Garnacho goal was offside, that Dallot's run? He looked a mile offside from where I was. Just confirm that for me in the chat, please. Adam, it isn't stupid to say that the atmosphere is lifted. That I completely understand. However, I don't trust Rashford or Lindelof. Ruud says one thing that offends them and they will betray him. Well, this is the big summer that's coming in, and this is where it's important for Ineos now. With Amorim coming in, if he is there, man, are we going to see that change that every single Manchester United fan is looking for, which is the players come second? It's about the system and the manager. If the players are not in line, then you have to do what Arsenal did. You have to do what City did. Get rid of the whole back line and a goalkeeper for Man City. Get rid of the captain for Arteta. Change things up completely. Trust in the manager. Do Ineos trust Amorim enough to get rid of some of the players that need to be moved on at Manchester United? And we all know who the players are, the big players. This is key. And we're going to see what these players do now. And I said this last night. The conversation went on with loads. I can't remember if it did, but I'll just say it again now. We've got a good, 7 months of football now for Amorim to test out this team. It's like an audition, isn't it, for the rest of the team for Amorim right now. Because if he goes into that summer and he is saying, look, this player, look, you wanted me to come in and play this football. I'm going to show you how to play this football, but I can't do it with player A, B, or C, for instance. Then this is where everyone's going to be judging Ineos. It's like, how ballsy are you? Are you going to be the first, not the first ownership, I can't say that, but are you going to show us that it is going to change this time? With you in charge, your manager in place, is it going to change this summer? Because I get what people are saying about the same players always letting the managers down, throwing the managers under the bus. It's always going to be there, isn't it? But still, we have to hope now that this is the difference. Like I said the other day, it's a new ownership with their manager. It's not part of the old regime's manager or a new manager with the old regime. It's totally different than what it was before. So let's see what happens in the summer. If our strikers can't score, how about giving the academy forwards an opportunity? Obi Martin and Gabriel Bainsheri? No, not ready. Both too young, 17 and 16, not ready. I know what you're saying, Al, but give them chance. Wheatley came on last night, which was good to see. He is more physically ready, I feel. Still scoring in the under-21s this season. Maybe he will get a bit more game time. Look, this is the beauty of a new man with new ideas coming in. Amorim has got a past track record of developing youth players. He's perfect. And Ineos will, with their structure and what they want Manchester United to develop within, make Amorim go into that youth. We will see, I reckon, in Amorim's first season, I reckon we'll see at least another 2 or 3 academy debutants. And I'm talking next season on this one. It may happen this season. Like I said, he's got 7 months, near enough, to see what he can do. So I'm putting money on Amorim will definitely blood more youth and give more debuts to academy players next season. I reckon we'll see 2 or 3 more, definitely. Because I don't think Ineos are going to spend big anymore. I don't. We may spend on the right player at the right age, like we have seen in the summer. The profile has to fit the system. The profile has to fit the costings. If it doesn't, make do. And this is why I feel you may see a Rashford go in the summer to fund certain deals. Let's not forget how much 100% profit we would get. Let's see what Amorim gets out of Rashford first. Let's not completely say he's done and dusted. We know what money is. He's 27. If he doesn't move this summer, then everything is downhill from there, isn't it? He's heading into his 30s. He's got, 3 more years to prove himself, you could say. And then he starts to lose a bit of pace. It comes off. And that's what Rashford's weapon is. It's his pace, isn't it? It's his directness. If he loses that, then he isn't as good a player. We know this. It's about his burst of speed. It's about that direct running past players. The sort of Gareth Bale style sort of forward. I'm not even comparing him to Bale, by the way. I'm just trying to use an example of the not silky skill like a Messi or a Ronaldo, I don't think. I think he's more ball pass gone, burst of speed, direct, making the player jump in and just going past him, that type of player. So yeah, let's see what Amorim can make of Rashford first in the rest of this season. And then I think we will all be in the same sort of conversation at the end, where we'll all be saying, look, let's now look at the players that haven't really done anything, and let's look at the players that we can work with. What can we grab from the academy? And then What can we bring in from the transfer window with the limited funds that are available? Look, I tell you something right now. If Amorim makes the top 4 and we get Champions League, everything changes. Them funds that come from the Champions League will definitely fund Manchester United going out and getting another striker. I think we need 2 more centre-backs minimum in the summer. We need a left-back. I reckon we need 5 players again this summer. We need another central midfielder, although that may change, obviously, with the academy players. It's key to see, obviously, you've got Sekou Koune, who we've spoken about a lot on this channel. You've obviously got Lascelles coming through as a winger, who is doing well and has had a good start as well, under the radar. You've got everyone else that we know about coming through the academy, like a Wheatley, like an Obi Martin that's there, Bayern Sherry coming through as well, a Mass. You've got Lacey there. You've got so much coming through right now. It may be a case of, right, okay, we don't need to spend this much because this player can play a bit part this season as well. And then the next season, they play a little bit more. It's advancing. It's the pathways and the development pathways that Ineos have put in place for our academy players, which are key, and why Amorim is in charge of Manchester United. That's massive. Don't discard the academy importance of Amorim coming into this and why they've gone for him. I think it is proper recruitment. I think it is Ineos going out there, like we said yesterday, accepting their mistake, getting the deal done and getting the best that they can do now to rectify everything that they've ballsed up. And he is that man. He is. For them, whether or not he can handle Manchester United, we just don't know. We don't know with any man coming into Manchester United if they're going to be able to handle it, do we? That's fair, Adam. I just don't like player power. Ruud did great. The players are my concern. Always get that. Must play. Das Sweet says his contract size is perfect. If it's working, it's easy to renew. If it's not, we're not tied down to a payoff. It's clever business from Ineos. He's going to treble or quadruple his money, I think it was reported. That's not much. People think we're overpaying again. It's not. It's just the going rate. The fact that Sporting don't pay a lot because of the standard of the league and the amount of money that's in the Portuguese league. It just looks like he's on astronomical money compared. It's about the going rate. That's all it is. So don't overhype that either. Some people will and say that Ineos are blowing money again. It isn't that scenario. It's not. Redune says, should have sacked Erik ten Hag in the summer. It gives Man U a better chance to get on the trails for a big picture. Besides, manager's choice was better, and they would the pre-season be prepared. Yep, they would. Again, goes down to timing and getting it wrong. Let's just see what we've got in here before we move on. Anthony Wisdom, we got to give Amorim at least 2 transfer windows. There are players in this current side that aren't athletic enough to carry out his system. Also, we're going to need to recruit heavily in the back line. Yes, we will. Like I just said, 100% we're going to have to recruit into the back line. I want to move on to the man himself, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Did anybody last night see a difference in Manchester United and how we played? I personally didn't. I've not looked at the comments. I'm guessing some people would have slagged me off for what I said in the comments. I thought the game was crap. The goals were great, and the goals made the game. The goals made the game better to watch because it just upped it a little bit. But the football in between was pretty dire, to be honest, and it wasn't any different to Ten Hag ball. But what can we expect from Van Nistelrooy in 2 days? Not a lot. Not even having a go at Van Nistelrooy. He made the atmosphere last night. I didn't agree with Cooper's comments. Snidey shit that he was. Cooper was questioned on Man United's atmosphere last night. And he was saying it wasn't intimidating at all. We found it quite easy. What the bleeding hell did you expect? It's a League Cup game against the crap side that you've put out. Everyone was expecting Ten Hag to be in. Yes, we had plenty of people in there that were there excited about seeing Van Nistelrooy. But let's be honest, it isn't going to change just like that. United are not going to start playing better football just because Ruud van Nistelrooy is in the dugout. It's the automatic freedom factor and bounce back ability, as we say. It happens to everyone. Look, Van Nistelrooy, I don't feel is adequate as a manager, but he spoke last night and he said after the game that he wants to carry on in any capacity at Manchester United. I pray that Amorim jumps onto that. Because Van Nistelrooy will never overstep the mark. You've seen how intelligent he was when he came into Manchester United, when he was speaking to Rio, when he did any sort of media duties, or speaking to anyone in anything, including interviews. He always said, look, I know my role. I'm not here. He obviously was upset that people were saying that it was an Ineos signing and bringing Ruud van Nistelrooy in to be that replacement for Ten Hag. That's the only reason he was brought in. He wasn't. He was brought in by Ten Hag. Ten Hag wanted him as his backroom staff. He showed loyalty to Ten Hag. He showed respect to Ten Hag. And he knows where he sits. He doesn't want the Manchester United job. I think he's making that clear. He will do it on the interim, but in full knowledge that he is not going to be the man taking Manchester United forward. He knows where he is. He knows where he is in his own development. And this is why he came to United. If you listen closely to the interview with Rio Ferdinand and Ruud van Nistelrooy, you will hear Van Nistelrooy say, there are other jobs on the table. He retired from PSV for a reason, because he wanted to learn more. In that interview with Rio Ferdinand, he says that he had other things lined up and opportunities there. And then when United approached him, when Ten Hag rang him up, he said that it just appealed to him for where he was at. And he was prepared to come to Manchester United and learn more. He respects Erik Ten Hag. He respects the way that he plays. He wanted to learn from him. Obviously, we all have our own opinions about Ten Hag, but that's by the by. On a coaching level, some people say that Ten Hag is this master tactician. We heard what Benny McCarthy said. There are other elements of his management which he completely fell on his face with. But in terms of what Van Nistelrooy wants to learn, he is using Manchester United as well as them using him. He wants to learn more. And if he stays, well, Amorim is in charge, I think United go places. I think it's the perfect blend and balance. I really do hope that Amorim latches onto that Van Nistelrooy enthusiasm and willing to learn. Because there is a system there that Amorim is playing that I think Van Nistelrooy can model off. I'm not expecting Van Nistelrooy to ever be the Man United manager. Maybe later down the line, somewhere in a few more years, but right now, it's all systems go with Amorim, and we know this. So, realistically, Van Nistelrooy wants to learn from him. He wants to learn from his experience at United. He knows where he is in the food chain, and he doesn't want to overstep the mark. He is happy to be down the pecking order in terms of importance in coaches, and I'm happy for him to stay. If he wants to stay, I'd keep him, personally. Would you keep him, or would you want to move him on, everybody? Look, if it's a problem for Ruben Amorim, I've said before, Van Nistelrooy has to move on. It's his party. You're backing Amorim. And if Van Nistelrooy isn't part of that, then we move past him. And sorry, Van Nistelrooy will go and find a job elsewhere. And he will prosper. And he will be good. I'm convinced that he will be the man. Please give the video a like, guys. We've got over 900 in the room with us on this extra lunchtime show. Thank you so much. The carnage that was last night and everything that was going on this morning. Slightly unwell with my voice and everything from last night. We just had a complete technical meltdown last night. For some reason, nothing worked. So again, apologies if anyone is just jumping in now that did do anything last night that hasn't gone up on the channel. I, again, hold my hands up. It was taken out of my hands, basically. But still, thank you for your patience. Thank you for all the support on the video that we did this morning. The Matchday vlog is up. Go and watch that after we've finished here. We've still got a bit of time yet. I want to get into the players last night. Did anyone stand out? Because I've said my piece. You all heard it last night. I was impressed with Casemiro. Bruno kept it simple. I thought that was just a game again for Bruno. I like Garnacho at the moment. I have got, and I'm starting to worry, just from watching the touch, just from watching where he is, from reactions from other players, I don't know how Joshua Zirkzee fits into this side. I've backed him, I've supported him. I'm just starting to get a little bit concerned like a few other people were already. And credit to people, no, it's not so much credit, but a lot of people had the opinion that, look, I've seen this player straight out and he's not good enough. Now, I like Zirkzee. I think he's a good player and we need to give him time. The problem you've got is now, he was brought in by Ten Hag. And is Zirkzee going to be a player that could work in an Amorim system? Already, the question comes up. When Amorim steps in, what happens to the players and who fits in? But Joshua Zirkzee as a whole, as a player, I'm starting to get concerns about because he's got a touch like a trampoline. The amount of balls that bounce off him His passing isn't good. I know he needs to find his feet, but I'm just concerned that he's not going to fit in with a new man, and it could be just a waste again. It could have been a waste of a summer in bringing him in, because I don't know where Ten Hag was going to play him because Bruno's there. Where does he fit in the system with Ruben Amorim? If it is going to be a 3-4-3, I don't see where Zirkzee fits in at all. You could say for Bruno in the midfield, but it's not so much a... If it is a flat 3, then you've only got room really for 2 midfielders. And you cannot be then putting in the likes of Zirkzee into midfield just to shoehorn him in. I don't think Amorim's the type of manager that's going to shoehorn players in. I really don't. So when you look at that, you have to sort of look at Zirkzee and say, a little bit worried. Touch of an elephant, says Stu. What is Zirkzee's role? He looks lost and confused. He's so slow. There are a few comments that have just jumped in straight away there. Greg says, I feel sorry for Zirkzee at the moment. The players around him are showing their frustration and it's not helping him. I think sub for the time being. Agreed. Impact sub. I get that one, Greg. He's like a big cargo ship. Same speed. Zirkzee needs more time, especially with a new manager. Yep, agreeing with all of them. Yanks has just renewed the membership. Thank you so much. What does the name Amorim mean? Random comment. No idea. And I'm really not bothered, to be honest. It can be anything he wants, as long as it's a positive thing. Let's just say that. Joshua Zirkzee is a good player, but having a hard transition from Syria, our chaos not helping him at all. True. Give him a chance, peeps. A lot of people coming in and backing him. Zirkzee will be fine. Vinny Jr. was horrible at Madrid when he signed there. Madrid is a different ballgame, isn't it? It's a different animal altogether. But I just feel like someone just made the comment there, all the other players are showing their frustrations. All the other players are trying to fight for their place. There is no system in. So Zirkzee cannot really learn any particular system at the moment because nobody else knows it. And all these players are doing are fighting individually, game after game after game, to try and get in this team. And that's what it was under Ten Hag. And that's the mess that Eric left. Because he's just left a team now in a squad that really had no rhythm or rhyme with any system at all. His random selections of players and players playing in certain roles was mind-boggling to everybody. And I think if you're coming into a football team from a different league like Serie A to the Premier League, then you need to be going into a system that's already working and doing well. And I feel like that is just not there for him to grab onto. And that's the problem. Amorim will install a system, I think, quicker than any other manager at Manchester United. I've just got that feeling that he will do that. He's coming in with his ways, and obviously we've done all of the reports and what he's like and how he likes his games played and what he expects from his players. I think there will be a system installed. You never know. Zirkzee could thrive under Amorim. I don't know where he plays at the moment, no. I would prefer Rasmus Højlund because he's the only one I feel is going to hit the back of the net in that forward line right now, apart from obviously the wide players like Ahmad Garnacho and Rashford can chip in. We've seen Casemiro and Bruno now get goals, Eriksen getting goals, so it's good that we're spreading the goals about, but in terms of the forward line, I'm worried that Zirkzee is going to be second fiddle and never find his feet, but still, let's give Amorim time. Let's give him time on the training ground. Let's see if he can encourage and get more out of Zirkzee than what Ten Hag could in his first few months. And maybe there is a spot for him in this side. I don't know is the answer to that. But I'm concerned because he's just not going to find anything while everything's up in the air. And even under Van Nistelrooy right now, for this next month, and then going for the international break, it may be a couple of months down the line when Amorim's been in for a little bit of time. We've had a few games that we may see Zirkzee actually come to the fore, but I mean, it's like nearly half a season then. And it just feels like, God, what a mess. And it goes back to the original point that we were making, that Ineos ballsed up the summer in not pulling the plug on Ten Hag sooner. 5 gifted memberships from Andrew Shaw. Andrew, you legend of a man. Thank you so much. DJ Van Boys K has got a membership. Squire 7 has got one. Proton, Must Play, and Renson. Welcome to the members club. Imagine starting a new job and you take months to get your ass in gear. No, Squire, is the answer to that. Which is why I feel Amorim will be coming in because Ineos expect him to. And they have to back him on that. And that goes back again to what I said. Like, If he wants to come in and put his system in and there's players that don't like it, then Ineos need to act. And that's not acting on the manager, that's acting on the players. Like, this is how it's going to be. Show us as a professional that you can adapt to this system. Otherwise, we will make changes. It's as simple as that. I reckon there are players, and plenty of them in this team, that will thrive under Amorim. I do. And I feel like he will get more out of the players that we were expecting more from, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm intrigued with so many of them. Do you reckon Casemiro's now got a claim to start ahead of Agate? I mean, both played all right last night. Casemiro at the moment, and honestly, there's times when I look at him and I go, past it. He's just keeping hold of the ball too long. He's getting caught in possession. And then there's times when I think he's just like this ultimate professional that you just cannot be without. He is someone with a great quote before, like Casemiro was the last player to score under the Ten Hag era and the first player to score under Van Nistelrooy. He just gets goals, doesn't he? He knows how to score goals at important times. He knows how to... He just knows how to conduct himself on a pitch. Yes, time is passing him by. I understand that. But this season, and what is the question I wanted to ask on Casemiro, do you reckon he has got a big role to play? Can he fit into Amorim's system? It's quite an important one, I feel that. Let's get some more comments in. I think he was referring to Zirkzee taking months to adapt. Yeah, I got you. Sorry, in terms of that question about going into a job, yes, sorry. Probably, yeah. Probably, but it goes for everyone still. Like, I feel like Amorim needs to hit the ground running as well a little bit here. I know people are saying they're giving him a little bit of a pass, but the only reason that Ineos have got rid of Ten Hag is because they feel the season is salvageable. So you're only going to bring Amorim in if you're expecting him to actually get something from this season. Otherwise, why would you bring him in at this point? You're not going to throw a season away. They could have done that with Ten Hag. Amorim is coming in to get Man United top 4. That's how I think Ineos are looking at this. I don't think they're going to say, look, let's just let him bed himself in. He's only got a 3-year contract, so it's a 2-year contract with an option for a third. They're not giving him time. They want to win the league in 2024, in 28, sorry. Then they're going to need to start getting Champions League football because they're going to need the money from that to invest. They want to have that stadium up and running by the time that Champions League football and winning the Premier League is back as well in 2028. They need results now. There's no time to wait. There's no time to hang around and give grace periods to anyone at this football club. Amorim's on trial, and so too are the players. I feel like this initial 7 months, like we said now, it's going to be more aimed at the players reacting more. I don't think we're going to get anything. If things are going bad for Amorim and the players are not working well for him, I don't think we're going to get any knee-jerk reaction managerial-wise from Ineos. But I think, again, I'm sort of arguing with myself in my own head right now. He needs time to get these players on side of his system. I just don't think Ineos are going to wait. Like, they're expecting him to have an impact, I think, straight away. That's just how I feel about it. I just think it is at that sort of stage, personally. But yeah. A couple more comments. We all said the same about Erik Ten Hag. Just nice to see smiling faces on the pitch. I see Bruno running around and telling players to move up and pass the ball quicker and keep possession. Squire says, I hope they keep Ruud on. I think his attitude and winning mentality will help. True. Agreed. Zirkzee looks like being ignored by other players, similar to Rasmus was in his first season, says Palm. And Tigreave says, Adam, if Ruud wins the next 3 games and stays at United, afraid it will be easier to fall back on him if things go badly for Amorim. Then, do I feel like that would be the case? I don't think he's staying. I'm just going to nail it to that. I don't think he's staying. Top 4 is gone. He's coming in to win the Europa League. Disagree, Mark. Thanks for the super chat, mate. I don't think top 4's gone. I don't. I really don't. And basically, people are saying that Chelsea are in for top 4. They're a point off the top. You've got, big games coming up. Liverpool are playing Villa. I expect Villa to drop points there in 4th. If United beat Chelsea, obviously if we lose to Chelsea, it's looking a bit unrealistic. But let's just say, Will it change your mind about top 4 if we beat Chelsea this weekend and we close within 3 points of Chelsea, who are just on the edge of top 4? Would that convince you that this is on? Not just because of Manchester United's form, but because of how the league itself is. I think there's an opportunity there, and I don't want to give up on it just yet. I personally feel like we can do something still in the rest of this season. But like Mark says there, it is a perfectly good comment actually to say, look, we can commit to the Europa League and win that, because that is definitely easier than the Premier League. I agree there. I just think, you know what? I wasn't bothered. Last night, if we'd have lost, I was like, League Cup, not bothered. Europa League and Premier League is where it's at. If we get beat by Spurs in the quarter-final, it'd be nice for Amorim to win a trophy. But again, we've just made this whole argument against Ten Hag. Like, these domestic trophies are not what Manchester United should be looking at. We're looking at the league table. That's how you gauge progress. Even Ange Postecoglou was talking like that last night. It's not about what trophies you win. The league is the ultimate progress. If you're moving up and you're contending, then you are progressing more. And if you are progressing more in that, then inevitably you're going to have chances like probably Arsenal have got now, and why they're favourites for the League Cup. They've got what? Southampton in the quarter-final, then it's two-legged game, and you're into a final. And Arsenal can beat anyone. So, yeah, that's how I look at it anyway. I feel like there is a lot to salvage out of this season. But there, your updates on Amorim. He is going to be announced today. It is going to be the 24th of November away to Ipswich. That's his first game. He is going to have to see out the rest of his games before this international break with Sporting, one of which I've got on a watch-along on Tuesday against Manchester City. So join us on Big Up, link in the description for that watch-along. And we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy for the games against Chelsea, PAOK and Leicester coming up. I've put the poll up. How many of them games do you reckon Ruud van Nistelrooy will win? Get them comments in right now, please, everybody. How many games will Ruud win out of the 3 that he has remaining? 3, 2, 1 or none. 3 is 58% of the poll, and there has been 1,000 votes on that poll. Give me a couple more votes before we finish up on that, everybody, so we can round it up to 1,000. We're just underneath it right now, and that will be perfect. But again, thank you mods, thank you members, everybody involved helping out in the chat as well. It's been brilliant. It's good to catch up again. I feel like I've missed you over the end of yesterday, going into the game, and then the start of today. It's been a bit chaotic. Well, good to be back in the system. Thank you everybody for being involved. Don't forget, if you are watching later, hit that subscribe button, which is top corner there, and watch my matchday vlog, which is just linked above there in on the screen right now in front of you. So, yeah, go and let me know what you thought about my celebrations in the game. Cheers for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll see you all later on.